Iron Shod Angels is a movie about the fight for women's suffrage in the early 1900s. It tells the story of Alice Paul, Lucy Burns, and many other suffragists who fought relentlessly to pass the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. For the most part, this movie is extremely accurate, though there are a few mistakes. One of the inaccuracies was the use of fictional characters. Emily Layton was a middle-class senator's wife. Mrs. Layton began contributing to the suffrage movement with monetary donations behind the back of her husband, who was vehemently against women's suffrage. She eventually became actively involved in the suffrage movement and was imprisoned. Emily Layton's character was created as a representation for all mothers who participated in the women's suffrage movement. Senator Layton was the husband of Emily Layton. He opposed women's suffrage and angrily cut off his wife's finances at the discovery of her donations to the National Woman's Party. He eventually even takes their children from his wife. Senator Layton's character was created to show how most senators felt about women's suffrage at the time. Ben Weissman was the fictional love interest of Alice Paul. He was a cartoonist for the Washington Post, although in real life, Alice Paul did not have a love interest. Ben Weissman's character was created to show Alice Paul's personal side. He is a representation of Alice Paul's choice to invest all of herself into the fight for suffrage. In the movie, they present Alice Paul's split with Nausa as a fight over power and money. In reality, Nausa rejected Alice Paul due to her strong feminist views. Paul had started her suffragist agenda in England, whose tactics had been seen as scandalous. Paul believed in the equality of men and women, while Carrie Chapman Catt did not. Catt believed that women were morally superior to men. The conflicting beliefs caused Alice Paul to split with Nausa and form the National Women's Party, not power and money. For the most part, the movie's depiction of the suffragist march on Washington was very accurate. The only scene that was incorrect was the scene where Alice Paul is seen burning Wilson's quotes. The suffragists marched completely in silence. The movie does a good job of representing the suffragists' peaceful protesting.
I believe the might of America is the sincere love of its people for the freedom of mankind. Woodrow Wilson, March 6, 1915. We have forgotten the history of our country if we have forgotten how to agitate when it is necessary. Woodrow Wilson, September 8, 1916.
The movie shows all of the suffragists being taken to the same prison. This isn't accurate, as Alice Paul went to Washington jail, and Lucy Burns, along with the other suffragists, were taken to Occoquan Workhouse. While it is true that the women went on a hunger strike, the reason for the hunger strike is not entirely represented correctly in the film. The film makes it seem like the reason for the hunger strike was the suffragists' dissatisfaction with the fact of their imprisonment. This is not entirely true. Alice Paul went on a hunger strike because of the way the suffragists were being treated while in prison. The women were eating poorly, were not given adequate exercise or fresh air, and were given bedding that had never been washed. In fact, Alice Paul discovered that they were being treated more poorly than the 17 murderers in the prison. Another big inaccuracy in this movie is its depiction of men as the enemy. The movie hardly shows any men who are allies of the women's suffragists. In reality, there were thousands of men who were for the cause of women's suffrage. There was even a section in the parade for men to march with the women's suffragists.
Hey, girls, go! Over here! Get over here, come on! Get off the streets, go home to your mother!
My mother is here!
You smell like my face, your head in!
The last inaccuracy is the organization of the Women's Suffrage Parade. The movie shows Alice Paul single-handedly organizing the parade, when in reality, the woman responsible for most of the parade's organization was Mrs. Richard Coke Burleson. Alice Paul was still involved in raising money and organizing the parade, but she hired women to help put it together.